What they're doing is incredible. I wish they were here at Bristol, the most exciting race of the year, hanging out with us right now. And I know their adrenaline is rushing and they're wide open and they're so intent over there like we are here, but gosh, our hearts and souls go out with those cats.
Rusty Wallace with a message to our servicemen abroad. Jimmy Spencer has now led the last about 80 laps. He led 54 laps here last March. This is the 8th time he has led a Winston Cup race at Bristol.
Well, I tell you, though, the car I'm watching right now is Kevin Harvick, that 29 car. Jeannie's the last go. You told me 290. It's 299. Where are they at?
Yeah, I know, Larry Mack. You've heard of new math. A new math in the 29 bit as they rework everything. They think now they can eke out to maybe 320. So we'll keep you posted.
Well, and I'm sure, Jeannie, the reason they're having to keep recalculating is all these caution laps that's been in there while they've been out there. As I said, we always use the formula roughly 3 caution laps to 1 green lap.
It's really hard to calculate accurately gas mileage on a short track like this because you don't really know how much throttle the driver's using.
If I was in their boat, I'd run it till it runs out of fuel.
You made your bed, baby. You're going to have to lay in it.
How about Steve Burns in the leader's pit?
Well, Mike, you mentioned how many laps Jimmy Spencer has led here. In August of 1991, Jimmy dominated the night race, leading 206 laps, but broke a throttle spring during the race, and it cost him the win. So he knows there's a lot of time and a lot of racing left. Nick Berggren.
Well, that Kenseth has pitted just twice today. They are preferring track position to do tires. The tires don't seem to be falling off at all for Kenseth. On the last stop, it was a disaster, at least for this team. 18.8 seconds. Jack Mann, Russ Strutt fell on that stop and put Kenseth from 4th all the way back to 21st, and he has just been passing them judiciously, carefully, and very smart. He's now running in 3rd spot. Considering where he started this race, that's a pretty good march.
He's come from 37. How about Greg Biffle, our Busch Series champion? He and Kyle Petty battling for 14th spot.
Yeah, and Kyle's had kind of an eventful day. He's been in a couple of wrecks, but Biffle's been quiet. Hadn't heard anything out of him. He's just been kind of doing a yeoman's job today.
That last caution, Darrell, Biffle came in and made repeated stops under that caution to adjust on that car, got back out and running well.
And he has those 4 fresh tires. And I think definitely now, Darrell, this racetrack you talked about, it gets greasier and slicker. I think, you know, fresh tires mean a little more now maybe than did at the beginning of the race.
Plus, listen, you get tired here. You really get tired of hanging on to that thing lap after lap. We talk about just going around and around in circles. Your arms get a little tired. Your neck gets a little bit get tired. You can lose your focus here. So if your car's not handling really well, you can get in trouble just all by yourself.
Jimmy Spencer getting past Robbie Gordon.
The inside.
Let's get out to our Ford Crashaway car. It's our Ford Cutaway car, but here at Bristol, Jeff Hammond, I think maybe it's got a little different meaning.
Well, I got news for you, Mike. Right now, my car's in pretty good shape compared to some of the cars that are running around the racetrack. And one of the reasons some of these guys were able to go back out is because they came with the big engine 3/4 front bumpers on these cars. You've got to keep the radiators in there, and you can see some of the debris I've already picked up. This is a piece of the tubing off of the 41 car, Casey Mears. He had a lot of damage. He got it back out there, but if he'd had this in the front of it, he may have gotten back out a little bit sooner. Also, while I was in the garage area, I had an opportunity to walk down and take a look at Terry Labonte's car. He's got a lot of damage to the front of the car. They replaced the front radiator, but right now, one of the biggest problems he's going to run into is the rear clip on his car is really shoved down, and he doesn't have any rear spoiler. So when he gets back on the racetrack trying to save some valuable championship points, he's going to have a really ill-handling race car, and he was very disgusted. He knew he had a good race car today. Those guys are working really hard to get him back in there. And one of the things they got to worry about with his damage is the crush panel area, which helps protect the driver. You don't want to allow a lot of exhaust fumes to get up inside the cockpit with the driver. And here at a place like Bristol, where the confines are really, really tight, this is a crush panel right here, and it's got a lot of damage in that area. You don't want those fumes to roll up into this cockpit area and to give your driver a hard time. And Darrell, you know good well, you don't want to be breathing exhaust fumes here at Bristol.
No, I mean, that's one of the things that you dread when you got to go back out there and one of these things that's been the front end's knocked off of it and the sides are caved in on it. You get a lot of extra heat, you get debris. It's really a miserable ride, and you got to sit out there and grind it out.
5th place changed hands. Kurt Busch has moved past Jeff Gordon. His teammate Mark Martin involved in an earlier crash and laps down. And also second place changed hands. Matt Kenseth got underneath Kevin Harvick to change second spot.
But I'm going to tell you, Darrell, as I watched that 97 car, remember in the early part of the race, he could not keep it on the bottom of the racetrack. We even heard the radio communication, how loose he was. I think a couple of things has happened. A, their changes have made that car better, but I think this racetrack is probably starting to tighten up a little bit with a lot of rubber down. Yeah, I mean, you get that rubber down there, that thing won't stick that right front like it did earlier and cause it to roll over like he was complaining about. It's going to slide a little bit more, and that little soft spring in there might feel pretty good about now.
After 13 caution flags by roughly the halfway point, this race has taken on a green flag look. 3:17 complete, 183 to go, and pit stops coming shortly. Especially for Kevin Harvick, a lot earlier than a lot of them, than in the 29 car. Harvick has slipped to third, 3 seconds off the lead.
Whoa, Ricky Craven just drove in on the back of Robbie Gordon at 31 and 3 and 4, and he did everything but hit the wall. That was a payback. The 29 did that to him going into turn 1. Ricky drove down there, and he still got through with him, I don't think. Ricky drove down there and took a shot at the 29. 29 says, all right, I got your message. I got the message. And that's right in front of Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, he don't want to see his teammates spin out, but he could sure use that caution right now. If they don't get separated, you're going to see one pretty quick. Right now, Kevin Harvick is about 4.5 seconds behind leader Jimmy Spencer. And Larry, listen to it. He's in the throttle wide open for just such a short period of time. Listen to him. Lays out. Easy. 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 Right there. He only had it wide open just for 1 instant. Spinning the rear tires. And that's all the things that Todd Berry, his crew chief, has to try to figure into this gas mileage equation. How much is he wide open throttle? Well, and also he's out of fuel, so the back of the car is pretty light right now.
And that whole incident happened trying to avoid an even slower car. Ricky Craven was coming up on, I believe, John Andretti, and eases up. Robbie Gordon just gets into him a little bit. And again, that's about sending him sailing right there. Yep. That's what angers a driver. When you hit me like that, that's not a good place. So here comes Ricky, and he says, all right, buddy, two can play this game. Bam. He tries to take he takes a big swing at him down here, but he ducked it. Well, look who Jimmy Spencer's trying to put a lap on. Our Winston Cup champ, Tony Stewart. He's got damage from that earlier wreck. He got up into the wall over there hard, and they tried to come back to pit road and work on it, but they couldn't. Harvick will be the first of the leaders to make what he hopes will be his final pit stop. Jeannie?
Well, Todd Berrier got off his seat. He was sitting on his feet. You could tell he's a little frustrated. They were almost pulling for something to happen a couple laps back with Ricky Craven. The last time Kevin Harvick came through, he said the car was just a touch tight. He was getting 4 tires here, and the tire pressure adjustment.
Now remember, Mike Joy talked earlier, since it's a green flag stop, he can go back out on the racetrack in turn 3. He don't have to come down the pit road on the front stretch. And that's really bad luck, Mike, because I can't remember the last time I've seen a lead car have to make a green flag pit stop. And it appears he's going to be a little over about 2.5 laps down. Wow. Now, it might be like wishing for it to snow right now, but what he needs is for no cautions about the next 100 laps. Yeah, it's going to take some real luck.
With the first 5 weeks of the season we had, don't you dare wish for snow.
You don't need a caution, though. No.